What's going on?
I think what's going on, first of all, there's no better place to meet than over a tumbler of bourbon, my friends. So I think that's the great meeting place that we
I
have
won't
here.
argue
But
with
really,
that.
yeah, but what's really going on is that I think truth and facts need to be the baseline for this election. Sanity, almost like this pro-reality army that Mitch and I were talking about, is that you can't have an inveterate liar, as president of the United States. And that's really what our discussion was about. It was about policy, but it's about the real reasons why Republicans should have the permission structure to vote for the Democratic ticket. And it was an amazing conversation that we had at the distillery.
Well, you're telling Republicans to vote for Kamala Harris in the 5th District of Virginia. What are you hearing back from Republicans?
I think the surprise when we had the distillery event, it was more me and Mitch getting to know each other, and we had invited a few people. But then we had about a 60-40 split between Democrats, Republicans, and independents. And what we're hearing is that maybe there should be a simple baseline of when you're voting for POTUS. And I brought up 5 things, right? You shouldn't vote for a rapist. You shouldn't vote for a felon. You shouldn't vote for somebody who wants to buddy up to dictators. You shouldn't vote for a conspiracy theorist. And you shouldn't vote for somebody who thinks January 6th is okay. I think those 5 baseline actions are what Republicans should be looking at. And if you're a conservative, you shouldn't be voting for somebody who seems to be pro-Putin, right, or anti-Ukraine. And I think as you start looking at those baseline structures, I think Republicans say, listen, I'm never going to be a Democrat, but damn it, I'm not going to vote for somebody who can't tell the truth and who rambles on with ridiculousness and actually seems to be anti-woman, anti-truth, and pro-conspiracy theory. I think people can actually get behind that as a message for a person you don't want to be president of the United States.
Well, I can't imagine what your inbox looks like, Denver, but I want to just pick up on one thing that you referred to there, and that's January 6th. Yesterday, remembering that you advised the January 6th committee. Donald Trump was asked in that news conference about the potential for political violence this election season. Here's what he said.
Of course there'll be a peaceful transfer, and there was last time, and there'll be a peaceful transfer. I just hope we're going to have honest elections, that's all, okay?
Was there a peaceful transfer last time?
No. I mean, that's the issue I'm talking about with Republicans, voting for Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, is that there was no peaceful transfer. And it's ludicrous to say that. And for him to say that, he's almost projecting about what's going to happen in 2024 and almost sort of pushing the reasons why it's going to happen next time, or there could be an issue, talking about the constitutionality of Kamala Harris taking over for Joe Biden. He's already setting up some of this disinformation, and that's something we're going to see more and more of as we get closer to November, is him just lying and then backing it up with sort of something incendiary or something, that's just polemic, and then just going on to the next thing. But so people need to question him as he puts out that BS that seems to come naturally to him. It's almost like he was bred, it's in his DNA to BS as many people as possible.
Well, Congressman, the Trump campaign is accusing Tim Walz of BS and bringing up his military career. We're hearing accusations of stolen valor, which is a big deal. Your former Air Force intelligence. J.D. Vance, of course, the Marine veteran, says Tim Walz abandoned his men before they deployed to Iraq. He lied about serving in combat, and he inflated his rank. What do you make of this attack?
Well, it's contrary to the facts. Listen, the thing that you don't want to be in the military is a Blue Falcon, right? And that's something that people can go look up on their Google machine anytime they want to. And I'm a Mustang. I'm prior enlisted, and I was a commissioned officer. And the thing is that you have to thank Tim Walz and J.D. Vance both for their service. That's something that only about 1% of Americans do. But we also know that you have to know what retirement rules are. You have to know when somebody actually goes for retirement, or if they haven't finished their professional military education, or if they haven't served 3 years in rank before they retire. There are nuances to military service that are very simple for a service member like myself. But if you're J.D. Vance and you're out there spewing falsehoods to try to get a footprint or a foothold based on disinformation rolling across the internet or across social media, that's what he's doing. And I think it's a shame that you would go after somebody like Tim Walz, who was a command sergeant major, right, retired as a master sergeant, I believe. I'm trying to make sure I'm correct in this. And the reason that he retired at a lower rank wasn't because he was demoted somehow or he didn't deploy. It was because of professional military education he hadn't completed and time in rank. So it's just a very simple problem set But the fact is, J.D. Vance should not be attacking Tim Walz based on J.D. Vance's background and as a military member. He should know better. And as somebody who's taken an oath to the United States Marine Corps, he shouldn't be acting this way because it's beneath somebody who's running for the office of vice president. And it's absolutely inaccurate to characterize Tim Walz in this way. And I think it's just another pathetic attack. And you just get tired of it, especially as former military. It's just embarrassing to have somebody have that kind of attack on a fellow service member.
Well, we do thank them both for their service, and we have been. Denver, I want to point you to another area of expertise that we talk to you about a lot, and that is security, high-tech security, in this case, online security with regard to our election. There's reporting today by the Washington Post, and this is coming from Microsoft, that Iran is stepping up efforts to interfere in the November election, amp up American polarization. They've got a new site called Neo Thinker, focusing on the Israeli-Hamas war. They've got another one called Savannah Time that is the About Us blurb of the site reads, "We're opinionated, we're noisy, we're having a good time." People don't realize what they're seeing in many cases with these online posts. How much do we have to worry about election interference? Because Microsoft says Russia is at it again, too.
Well, we already know that we had issues in 2016. Then we know about the bizarre, stop the steal election conspiracy theories in 2020. But we also know that there was issues with foreign individuals or foreign companies or state groups pushing disinformation into the social media ecosystem. I think it's going to be worse than ever. The one thing that's different, people are like, well, Denver, propaganda has been around forever, right? Disinformation's been around forever. Well, the thing is that social media combined with artificial intelligence and the ability to curate, right, not only a message, but to curate that voice and curate that person's likeness in almost real time, and to actually push that is such a dire threat to the United States Republic. And here's why. I don't know who you can attribute this quote to, but it said, what is it? Truth travels around, what does it say? Lies travel around the world faster than truth can put its shoes on. That's the real danger with AI, is that there's this digital push to actually, I would say, to push people into a direction that's completely inaccurate. And it's very difficult to fix that. It's very, very hard to fix those kind of lies. And I think when you're looking at AI with messaging, robocalls, you're looking at digital likenesses, deep fakes. But there's another side to this, Joe. And that other side to this is that you can also use AI to look at inconsistencies, write speeches, things like that. But you can use AI to actually curate a false message too. So I think we have to be very careful about artificial intelligence and the combination of bad actors from foreign sources, but also domestic sources who would rather just win and have power rather than actually treat constituents correctly.